Thank you for coming, Chairman. What role does uncertainty in the marketplace have to do with our financial recovery?
I think uncertainty is, as I mentioned once or twice in this venue, my PhD thesis was about the effects of uncertainty on investment decisions and suggested that it would impede decisions that would be hard to reverse later when information became available. So I'm sure uncertainty is playing some role. I think where there's some disagreement is on the relative weights of different kinds of uncertainty. No doubt regulatory and tax uncertainty are part of the broad set of issues that are concerning investors and entrepreneurs. We hear that a lot in our anecdotes. There's also, though, general uncertainty about the recovery itself. Will the recovery be sustained or not? In order to be confident about hiring people, for example, you'd like to have greater confidence that, in fact, your sales will keep growing.
What you are hearing is also what I'm hearing, but I'm also hearing from a lot of small business people that have around 50 people that they're going to fire people to get below 50 so they're not covered by the president's health care. I can tell you story after small manufacturing facilities they're going to fire people because they're not going to tolerate having to put up with the Affordable Health Care Act. And even one major employer back home in Rockford, Illinois, simply told his employees, I'm going to offer you no more health care. I'll pay the $2,000 fine because I'm well over 50. Those business people have money. Large corporations have money. And have you heard about the uncertainty out there with the business people over the President's Affordable Health Care Act and the impact that has on the recovery?
We get lots of anecdotes, and that's, the Reserve Bank presidents from around the country come to the meeting and talk about what they're hearing from their contacts, and contacts frequently cite various kinds of uncertainty, including regulatory uncertainty. As I said, though, it's hard to judge whether this is a small factor or a large factor.
Well, from what I could tell, it's a very large factor. I spend most of my time in this place working on manufacturing issues. And couple that uncertainty with the weak orders coming from the EU, which I think is our second largest trading partner besides Canada, and the Institute for Supply Management is now below 50. It dropped, I think, a dramatic 6 points just in 1 month. If the manufacturing sector isn't going to lead the recovery, what will?
Well, I noted in my remarks that manufacturing seems to have slowed somewhat, and part of it is the global economic situation.
Demand.
Demand, slowing in Europe and Asia, and that was part of my earlier point. There are multiple factors involved here. Well, one sector which is doing a little better is housing, and over time that'll be a contributing factor. But it is true, as Mr. Henseling pointed out, for example, that growth has been slow, and part of the reason is that following a financial crisis, some of the factors that normally lead to a strong recovery, like a housing recovery or extension of credit, have been affected to some extent by
what I've been seeing is that those manufacturers involved in mining, oil and gas exploration, anything deal with energy, they're actually expanding because they see the need for that. And banks are lending based upon that. But the massive uncertainty in the manufacturing sector, the fact that companies are unwilling to make decisions is, as you said, compounding everything. I met with a bunch of European Union parliamentarians yesterday. They believe, of course it's in their best interest to say so, but I really believe that they think that things are stabilizing in Europe. Your opinion of that?
I don't think they're close to having a long-term solution that will solve the problem. And until they find those long-term solutions, we're going to continue to see periods of financial market volatility, I think.
Okay. Thank you. I yield back.